hi. Oh, hi, hi. Okay, I'm just waiting for people to join. I'm waiting for people to join. Hi, hi, hi. Pinky, what's up? Hi, Pinky. How far? Good afternoon. Hi. Okay, I'm just waiting for people to join before I kick off and start. Quincy, hi. What's up? Hi, I see you guys joining. Hi, Groove. What's up? Good afternoon. How are you doing? How are you doing? It's been a while. Hi. Hello. Quincy, what's up now? How you doing? Happy New Year, guys. Happy New Year. I don't think I've seen you guys this year. So I'm just saying Happy New Year to everybody. Hola, what's up? How are you doing? Good afternoon. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. I'm just waiting a little bit of people for people to join. Okay, yeah. This is amazing. The fact that I'm here today is amazing. I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Lami, what's up? Thank you so much for being here. You're so welcome. Hi, good afternoon. Okay, let me introduce myself. This is 2023. I think this is our first live this year. And we sincerely apologize for the delay. And I would like to say thank you so much for being here. Today promises to be interesting. You know why? My colleague is actually going to be joining us today. I'm going to be adding her on to join us very, very shortly. She's going to be joining us today. We're actually going to be taking the live together. So it actually promises to be extremely interesting. So the moment I see her request, I will add her to join. Lami, hi, good afternoon. I'm waving back at you. I'm waving back at all of you. Happy New Year. It's good to see you. This is an amazing Wednesday. Hope today is as amazing for you as it is for me. So thank you so much for being here. I'm really, really grateful for having you here. Thank you. Okay, so for me to introduce myself, as you all know, I am Mo from Negxy Concept Limited. I will be accepting my colleague to join very shortly. Hola says Dimple Lord, I woke up to see this new year. Don't worry, I'm still going to go through your, I'm going to go through the comments. Hi Quincy, what's up? How you doing? I'm actually going to go through the comments. But hola, you're making me laugh. Hi, good afternoon. It's good to see everybody. Quite frankly, it's actually good to see everybody. Okay, so very shortly my colleague is going to be joining. Hola, I can't introduce myself as Dimple Lord, you know that, right? Shola, what's up? Happy New Year. Hello, I'm saying hi to you. Okay, so in respect to the topic we have to discuss today, we're actually discussing about your study abroad options for the year 2023. We'll be talking about your eligibility requirements. We'll be talking about your stay back options. We'll be talking about your career opportunities. We'll be talking about your entry intakes for different countries, right? So we're actually, today promises to be extremely interesting. So I will be adding my colleague to come on to join the moment I see her request. So we're actually going to be taking this live together. Yeah, but while I wait for her to join, I will start from my own part, right? Okay, so yeah, we're in 2023. Quite frankly, right? And yeah, we're actually going to be talking about different countries. Say you're actually interested in Ireland, you're interested in Australia, you're interested in Canada, you're interested in UK, you're interested in the US. Negxy Concept Limited is actually here for you, and we're actually here to make your dreams come through, right? Like we always say. So, but the truth is, the earlier the better. Like we always tell you that the earlier the better. Just as I see you and I'm waving back at you, how you doing? It's so good to have you here. Yeah, like we always say that the earlier the better. It's always interestingly funny when students now come at the dying minutes and say they want to start putting in application, you know. I'm waiting for my colleague to join. Like I said earlier, I'm waiting for her to join. Let me just send her a message to join. So I'm waiting for her to join. The moment I see her request, I'm actually going to be requesting for her to join and then accept her in, because we're meant to take this live together. Okay, so yeah, so we're talking about, I'm going to be taking some parts, and then she would come in to actually take some parts of this live session that we have today. Do you understand? Okay, yeah. Let me see. Roseline, please, can you kindly send a request for me to add you on so that you can join? Okay. Let me just add her on before I kick off and start. Join. Yeah. So we're talking about different countries. We're talking about Ireland. We're talking about Canada. We're talking about US. We're talking about Australia. Some people don't even know that we actually do Australia. Okay. Hi.
Hello. Good afternoon. It's so nice to have you here. It's been a while. It's been a long while.
I don't know your name. I'm the only one that knows your name right now. Please, you want to know your name?
Oh, okay. My name is Roseline. Oh, please, people, you have to know my name. I've been here how many times? I don't even need an introduction. Just the way Mo doesn't need an introduction, I don't need an introduction. But yeah, my name is Roseline, and today we're going to be talking about some things that a lot of people that come to us are always asking. So we decided that it'll be best for us to come on here and talk about it, so that you can have a larger picture, or a big picture of every possibility or all the options that are available to you, so you can use that to make a decision. And obviously we're always here for you to follow up on whatever questions that you have. So I'm glad to be back. I was away for a while, but I'm glad to be back. Yeah. So I think I jotted some things. More, just continue. I'm trying to look for my book where I jotted some things. I don't know where I dropped it in this whole this thing. So just give me a moment. Let me grab the book and then I'll be back. So Mo, please carry on.
Yeah, let me just take my own part of this live session that we are having today. Yeah, so we're talking about different countries, like Roseline rightly said. We're talking about Ireland, Australia, any country, any of these 5 countries that you're interested in. Negxy Concept Limited is actually here for you. Okay, so now the basic requirements for each and every one of these countries for you to say, okay, you know what, I want to go in for my post-study, I actually want to study in any of this country, is still the same. For undergrad, you still need about almost 6 or 7 documents are required for you to be eligible for these countries. And also, for if you're going for postgrad, the same amount of documents, the same 8 documents that we always ask for, are still the same documents that we always ask for these for you to actually start processing. It's more about the requirements that each of these universities within these countries will always ask for. They will ask for your transcript. If you don't have your transcript, at least you can start your processing with your student copy. If you have the student copy transcript, it can help you to start your processing. Please, within this live, if you have any question, please be sure to drop your question in the comment section, and we'll be sure to attend to it as soon as possible. Okay, so yeah, like I said, if you have your transcript, it's fine. If you have your passport, your international passport is fine. Some students will always come and tell us that right now, their international passports, they're actually trying to renew it. We don't have an option to be able to process their application with an expired passport. And we always tell them that, you know what, if your passport is actually expired, as long as you're using the same name on that old passport, we can actually start your processing, right? We can always start. Moving forward, once you get the new one, can always help you use that one to actually continue with your application process. So not all hope is lost with an expired passport. So yeah, we need your transcript, we need your passport, we need your certificate. We need your certificate from school. We need your CV. We need a well-detailed SOP is also very, very important, and we can't stress that enough. Yeah, and your CV has to be very, very updated. Your CV has to be updated, and then we need your academic reference from your school. We need your work reference as well, and also say you have WAEC or you have NECO, is also accepted. Now, some schools will take NECO. Most schools will take NECO. Some schools will only take WAEC. Do you understand? Say, for instance, Birmingham City University will only tell you that they are actually taking just WAEC. University of call will tell you that they're taking just white with C5. So it's actually important to note this. Yeah, but the truth is, whatever document it is that you're bringing to us, we would actually look through it and give you the right counselor with respect to the school that you can actually go to that will push you through for these for the course that you want to go for. So regardless of the country, these documents are still the same documents that would always ask of you at first to start your admissions processing. Do you understand? Now, if you're someone that is actually interested in going for an undergrad, yeah, we would always require the international passport of that student. Then we would require a testimonial and also an academic reference. We would require a detailed CV. Even if the person doesn't have work reference, please give us a CV. Just that. And also a detailed SOP explaining the reason why that particular student would want to study in that particular school that the student would go for. So these are the basic documents that we always ask for that would grant you the eligibility to be able to say, you know what, I am qualified to apply for whatever university it is that you actually want to apply to in any of these 5 countries that I just mentioned. Now, with respect to the intakes that these universities have, yeah, take for instance, for Ireland now, they have their autumn intake and they also have their spring intake. Now, for their autumn intake, the autumn intake is also called the fall intake, right? And for their autumn intake, it's always important to note that right now, yeah, just start your application processing. Start it very, very, very fast, and start it now. Do you understand what I mean? Yeah. So now, for those that are actually interested in September, which is the autumn intake, we would always, like I said, we always advise that you start your application process and you start it now. Now, if you literally start now, for those that don't have YA or they don't have NECO, they can always say, okay, they can actually start their IELTS classes now and take the exam now. Do you understand? That will qualify them to actually say they have an English proficiency to show for it, right? And then, before you know it, by August, they're already on their way to Ireland. Yeah. So it's always advisable that you start your processing and you start it now and you start it fast. And that's why we're actually here for you. We're actually here to ensure that we gather your documents. Once we gather your documents, we'll check through to ensure that the particular course that you want to go for goes in line with the documentations that you have, and then we'll put you in through. So the best bet and the best advice we'll give you right now is to start your application for the autumn intake now. That is for Ireland. Also, for UK, yeah, a lot of people know that a lot of people literally went in for the January intake. Yeah, like I said, please, if you have any question, you can always drop it in the comment section, and we'll be sure to attend to it, right? Okay, so I see you joining Kike Lomo. Hi, good afternoon. Welcome. Okay, so yeah, for UK, we know that January just passed. January just passed, and a lot of students actually went through for January. Yeah, now we have September intake coming around the corner. We have May intake, but right now the way a lot of people are actually rushing for January for the UK,
September.
the May intake actually closed. Yeah, the May intake are actually closed for most of these schools. So right now, we just advise you to go straight for September intake. Do you understand? And the earlier you start, the better. As a matter of fact, for September, some courses are even closing right now. We're in February and courses are closing already. Imagine. So we really you don't have much time. If your documents are complete, just send them to us. As a matter of fact, let's just have the documents you have. Let's look through it and then see how best we can help you to secure your admission fast and in a timely manner so that you can meet up. Because we don't want a situation whereby around June, July, you now come and say you want a school, like you want to go for September, by all means, and by that time it's already too late. I hope you understand. Okay, so yeah, right now for UK, we always tell you that you should just push through and just go for September intake, and the time is really short. A lot of people don't know that the time is short. Now for Ireland, yeah, one thing I missed out on, you need 6 months bank statements. So it's really, really important for you to know that your bank statement is also very important, that you start you know exactly. That's why I said come to us fast and come to us now, so that we can help you with the documentation processing and then help you to align everything that you need, do the calculations for you for the amount that you need in your account so that it can start running early. Yeah, do you understand? So for Australia, for instance, they have the February intake and also they have the July intake. February is already gone, and with the way it is with Australia, for February, this intake, a lot of those that were actually interested in Australia for February, they have actually done all their processing. As a matter of fact, the deadline was December last year. Do you understand? Now, for those that are actually interested in the July intake, they have the April, May to be their deadline. Do you understand? So it's important to note that you don't really have much time. If truly you really want to jump up, then this year, then the time to act is now. I would advise that you start taking steps to make sure that this actually comes to actualization. Okay, so now some of the universities also have their deadlines. For Australia, for instance, take for instance Australian National University. For July intake, their deadline is May 31st. They have a particular university that has their deadline in July 31st, which is they have that November intake for Australia, and their deadline is July 31st, and that is University of New South Wales, right? So at least you have an opportunity. If Australia is exactly where you want to go to, then you have this as an opportunity to say, okay, you can go in for November intake, which their deadline is 31st of July. But for their July intake, their deadline is March. Yeah, so we have University of Queens, which their deadline is also March 31st. University of Western Australia, and their deadline is July. Sorry, their deadline is July for that one, for their postgraduates. But for their undergrad, their deadline was December last year. Do you understand? So that is for the intakes for Australia. Now for Canada, Canada has a fall intake and they also have a winter intake. They have spring intake. Now for their fall intake, right? Their fall intake is in September and it's their primary intake. Most of the universities in Canada, they actually offer courses to students in this intake. Then they have their winter intake and then they have their spring intake. The winter intake is in January, and we all know that actually January just passed. Then we have the May intake. Now, Canada also needs 6 months bank statement, so which means that for those that want to go for May intake, it might be a little bit too short for them to actually start processing for that, right? So we advise that you go for September intake, right? So if you're interested in going to Canada, it is important that you start your application process now and then you start fast. I think that's just a brief about all the intakes and more about the eligibility for those that are actually interested in studying in any of these countries. So I think I'm going to give it over to Rose to give the index of all the nitty-gritty that needs to be said.
Okay, so they're just going to be okay. Hi. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so they're just I'm just going to ask maybe some questions so that whoever is listening can get certain information before I go on to talk about what are the career opportunities that you should be looking at, and then what are your options to stay back, because I don't want to say that your idea for traveling is for solely for the opportunity to actually stay back and start a family out there, but a lot of you want the option of stay back, right? Some of you want to go get this degree, come back to Nigeria and do great things, while others want to find out if there are opportunities for you to actually use your degree to work and earn and start a family, or continue to raise your family over there. So we're going to be talking about the options for if you're single, if you have a family, what are the job roles that currently are available, and then what are the career options for you to choose from, especially if you're changing career. So say you are in a related career and that career is not something that is in high demand, it will be wise for you to switch to something that is more relevant to the host country that you're going to. if your intention is actually to stay back beyond your study years and the allowed time for you to work, which is your postgraduate work study, that most of these countries are going to give you permit for, right? So I'm going to be Mo is going to tell us one or two things. I just want to ask her so that she can help guide us towards that those answers, and then I'm going to go into discussing it. So Mo, I want to find out, for people who are interested in going to these countries, now, which of these countries is most applicable for someone who has a family or someone who wants to move with their family? How easy is it for each of these countries for you to move with your family, if that is what you want? Because a lot of people that come to us already have families, wives, husbands, or kids. Which of them would you say is the best, or the process for moving with your family?
Okay, for UK right now, UK is the hot cake, right? And for me, UK actually seems to be the easiest for you to actually transition with your family. At least you can actually go with your, they call them dependents, right? You can go with your dependents even from start. The moment you get your pass, which is your confirmation of acceptance of study, the moment you get that, you can actually start processing with your family immediately. Ireland, on the other hand, will not allow you to actually go with your family. They will tell you that they actually want to see just the applicants, the primary applicants. Canada also gives an opportunity for you to go with your family. US gives an opportunity for you to go with your family. But we would always say that with US, it's a lot of work, right? Australia would also give you permission, but with Australia too, it's a lot of work. And it is the embassy that is the determining factor for all of these other countries, right? It also with UK though, but the highest opportunity that you have right now to be able to go with your family, say you have a family of 5, and the embassy will not blink an eye to actually grant you permission with you and your family to go, is the UK, right? But with Ireland, they say no, they cannot go with their family. The students just has to go by themselves. But with, they have an opportunity with US, they have an opportunity with Canada, they have an opportunity with Australia. But the documentation process is a bit intense. As long as the person that actually wants to go is really interested in taking their family along, then it is not impossible.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So, like Mo rightly said, if you are someone who has a family, maybe your spouse, and or if you have kids, then I think the easiest, if you're looking at the application process for you to move with your family, would be the UK. Now, there are other options if you want to move with your family, which is Canada, the US, and Australia, but they require certain more documentation that might not be readily accessible or available, or a lot of people might not actually meet that criteria, especially because they are more thorough in their request. And you also need to defend why would you want to study and then you want to move all your family? Like, you're just going for a couple of years, like, why is your family coming with you? So you need to have a very good story as to why your family has to come with you, maybe for emotional support, for moral support. You don't want to miss them, so you can concentrate on your studies, and then maybe just have that family together for the period where you're going to be away, and then all of you are going to move back. But for the case of the UK, they don't even ask questions. I'm moving to the UK, I'm going to study, my family is applying, no questions asked. Your family is supposed to come with you, and that's it, right? So that's the difference in that case. So if you're considering moving with your family, you should always consider the UK first. And if it does not fit into your overall goal of, okay, where do I want to stay back? Is the UK, does UK fit that? Then you can start considering other countries. And hopefully you're going to be able to meet those criteria that they're going to be demanding from you. So now I'm going to be talking about what are the stay back options for these countries. So Mo had talked about the UK, Ireland, Canada, Australia, and the US. Now, for all these countries, when you go study, you get a postgraduate work permit, postgraduate work visa, depending on what the country calls it. It still means the same thing. You get a couple of years to stay back in order for you to work and gain sufficient experience, most likely in the field that you have just finished studying in, right? So the idea is you finish school, and instead of you to just start rushing back to your country where you don't have any experience, because most times employers respect your certification, but they also require you to have sufficient work experience within that field or that line to be able to give you the kind of job that you want. So they have provided you the opportunity to be able to work with that degree in the country, you know, gather that experience, and then move back to your home country or any other country you desire to be able to now easily join the job market. So for Australia, you get 18 months. That's a year and 6 months. Depending on your course, you can get up to 4 years, but it depends on if your course or your career path is within the critical job roles that you know they're looking at. Then for the US, you get 2 to 3 years. For Canada, you get 1 to 3 years. Now, if you do an undergraduate program, or you do a 1 year postgraduate program, you're getting 1 year. If you do a 2 years postgraduate program or maybe a PhD and light, you're getting 3 years. So it all depends on the program you go for. For Ireland, you get 2 years for postgraduate, you get 1 year for undergraduate, and then the UK, you get 2 years for postgraduate. Well, is it 1 year for undergraduate as well for the UK? Let me confirm before I say. 1 year for undergraduates. When you finish your undergraduate program, you can get 1 year to stay back, right?
No,
undergraduate. Undergraduate. Sorry?
After you're done with undergrad, after you're done with your undergrad, you still get your 2 years. For everybody, it's your 2 years post-study work.
So for the UK, it's 2 years, okay.
But it's when you are transitioning into masters. Do you understand? You have 1 year to transition into direct masters. If you want to stay back and transition into masters, you can always do that within 1 year.
In 1 year, okay. Okay, so thanks for clarifying that. Yeah. So so these are the options that are available to you. Now, most people most people are not interested in, oh, I go study for 1 or 2 years, I get 1 to 3 years stay back option. That's a maximum amount of years would be between 3 to 5 years, right? And you want to move with your family, or you want to start a new life, you know, you want an opportunity to say, okay, I want to be able to stay back. What are the options to stay back? So I'm going to be looking at what I have here, and I'm going to be letting you know. So in Canada, I'm going to start with Canada, right? In Canada, there are several options that are available to you. Most of you listening probably would have heard about express entry. Most of you would have heard about provincial nominations, and then open and closed work permits. Most of you probably would have heard about it. Now, as someone who has finished studying in Canada, you have the opportunity to either get a job. If you have 3 years, I'm going to be using sorry, my baby is crying. I'm going to be using a postgraduate study in this case as an example. So you get a 3 years option to work. Now, if you get a job that wants to sponsor your work permit, right? Maybe you're really skilled in a particular field that is really critical. If you get a job, then you can actually get a work permit that would enable you to actually stay for longer. So depending on how long you're able to apply for, you can continue to renew this work permit, right? Now, another thing you can do is, if you don't get a work permit, say you have your postgraduate work visa and you have the extended 3 years, if you get a job that is within the list of occupation that is high ranking. So there are different rankings. There is the NOC occupation classification 0A, B, C, and I think D. Now, if you're between the 0A, B, right, and you have a job within that space, if you complete a 1 year experience, if you complete 1 year with them, then you're able to apply for what they call the Canadian experience class. So if you have worked in Canada in any role that is within that level, you qualify for the Canadian experience class. And because you also have a degree from a Canadian university, that also adds a lot of points for you. Now, this qualifies you to apply for the express entry using the Canadian experience class as your entry level. Now, the express entry has different programs within it. They have the Federal Skilled Workers Program, they have the Canadian Experience Class, they have the Trades, Federal Trades Program, then they also have the Provincial Nomination. So the one you'll be qualified for would be the Canadian Experience Class using your experience, right? Now, also, you also be qualified for the Federal Skilled Workers Program. This is if when you're coming from your home country, say maybe you had worked for like 3 years and above from your home country before coming into Canada, then you have a degree in Canada, and then once you're done with your degree, you go into the workforce. Even if you have not gathered up to 1 year work experience within a particular career in Canada, you might still be able to apply for the Federal Skilled Workers Program, because you can draw in your experience from your previous role if it is within the level of 0A or B. I hope you guys understand. If you don't understand, you can ask me a question. Now, doing that, if you qualify, you can use that to apply also for the express entry. What express entry does is, if you qualify, you go straight into becoming a permanent resident. If you're there for 3 years and you pass the exams, within 3 years, you're going to be able to get citizenship. So it's the fastest way to get citizenship. Now, another way you can also qualify is if you are selected by province. Now, this is where knowing what you want to do comes into play. There are certain roles, there are certain careers, and there are certain courses you can go for in certain provinces. Provinces are like states in Canada, where they are looking for people that have some particular kind of skills or some particular kind of knowledge. Now, if you have that particular kind of skill or knowledge and you have a degree to back it up, then the province can nominate you for a for permanent residence. Now, that also still goes to the express entry program. Sometimes it is a system that is separate. Sometimes it's a system that is part of the express entry program. So if you are looking to go to Canada, then you might want to reach out to us. We can research your particular role and which provinces are the best options for you. So some provinces are very particular about people that have experience in the medical field. Some are particular in people that have experience in IT. Some want people that have experience in early childhood or any educational qualifications. Some are even looking for people that have technical skills. So maybe you're a forklift driver, you have fashion design or farming, agriculture, things like that. So different provinces have different needs. And if your qualification and previous experience fits those needs, then it will be best for you to actually move to a university within that particular province, so that once you are done, you're eligible for nomination. And with that, you can then stay back. So if these ones are not don't work for you, then you have your 3 years postgraduate work visa or permit, and you can then go on to get a work permit that is extendable if an employer actually wants to have you. So you can actually extend that for a period of, I think, 5 to 10 years. And then if you've been in Canada for, I think, about 10 years legally, you can then apply for your PR, that's your permanent residence. So that's a longer route, but it's still possible. Now, when we go to the UK, I'm going to talk about the UK now, because that's like the most popular one that everybody knows and everybody goes to. So what are the options, right? Now, if you are deciding to go to the UK, there are several things or factors you need to take into consideration. One is that there's a lot of competition for the jobs that are available, but there are a lot of critical positions that are currently opening up and springing out. Right now, if you want to be among the people that are going to be the first to take advantage of everything that's happening, you need to look at what are those critical occupations, what are those critical positions, and how am I able to fit into this position? Because if you go to the UK and you finish your studies, I'm talking about postgraduate level now. If you finish your studies, you get 2 years to stay back. The only way for you to actually extend that 2 years is for you to actually get some sort of work permit, maybe be it in care, be it in any other occupation, IT or the likes. Now, for you to actually do that, a company needs to employ you and then be willing to sponsor you. So which means that the company is saying, I want this person. This person has all that I require to be successful in my company, and without this person, I might not be able to find somebody to suit this particular role. So if the company is willing to do that, then they can now extend your work permit for the amount of years that they are willing to extend it for, maybe 2 years, 5 years, or whatever. Now, if people who have skills, people who have degrees in roles that are really critical, that will be the first to get this kind of jobs. To be easiest. So for instance, if you are someone who is coming with maybe what role? What role? I'm not maybe downgrading any particular course right now. I'm just talking about how easy or how difficult one might find it if they had one over the other. So say you go and then you read something in programming, right? You know, very complicated programming languages in IT, or aeronautic engineering, or maybe nursing, or something in the medical field, or even let me come to business in finance. Finance is actually something really critical. Like it's a skill that a lot of people are looking for, and it's not a skill that anybody can just go in. I can't do accounting, I can't do finance, you know. So say you have a degree and you have maybe related experience within those particular fields, and then you're coming to study maybe an MBA or business administration, right? How many businesses are looking for business administrators? There might be much, but the amount of people available to take up those roles are high. So say they have 100 roles in business administration and they have 1,000 people who have also come to read business administration. All you 1,000 people will be fighting for those 100 available roles that can actually sponsor your work, your work visa, right? Now, take programming for instance, or let's take nursing. They might have 1,000 nursing roles, but they have just 500 or 600 people that are eligible to apply for it. You see how easy it is for you to be able to actually get a job within that space, because they have more availability than the people that are able to fill up those roles. I'm not saying any particular job is not relevant. I'm just saying some have more opportunities than the other. So if you're looking at going to the UK, you also need to think about that, right? So if and when you are able to get a sponsorship, your sponsorship now makes you eligible to stay back. If you stay back legally in the UK for 10 years, then you'll be able to file for sorry, is it 5 years or 10 years more? I think if you stay back legally for 5 years, so sorry, if you stay back legally for 5 years on your work visa, you're going to be able to apply for indefinite leave to remain, which is some sort of like a PR, what your the US will call green card, what Canada will call your PR, right? Now, you're going to be able to apply for that, provided you meet certain criteria, right? Now, if you're on that indefinite leave to remain for another 5 years, which is 10 years cumulative, this is outside of your work, the time you spent in studying, and also the time you spent on your postgraduate work visa, at least as of now. This is outside of that. Now, when you've spent 10 years cumulatively, you can then apply for citizenship. So that's the process for the UK. So if you're thinking the UK, you need to think critically about what positions you want to go for. So I'm going to talk about some jobs that are very in high demand, but this list is not exhaustive. There are still other things or other factors to look at, especially if you do not fall within any of these roles I'm going to be mentioning. You want to probably find out, how can I transition into these roles? What are the roles that have the lowest barriers to entry? You know, taking a look at your current background, right, in terms of your education and your work experience. So that's something you have to look at. Now we're going to go to Ireland. Ireland is somewhat similar to it's somewhat similar to the UK, right? So you get a 2 years stay back option. Once you're done with your postgraduate degree, you get a 1 year stay back option once you're done with your undergraduate degree. So undergraduate, you can then move on to a postgraduate degree where you then get a 2 year stay back option. Now, the I don't want to call it the downside. The downside of, let me just call it downside anyway. Okay, I said so. The downside of studying in Canada, Ireland, is that you can't move with your family, right? So a lot of people who want to come and I want to go with my wife, I want to go with my child, blah blah blah. The option is not available, right? But Ireland is a very wonderful country. So if you're single or you do not mind actually being away for your family for a short period of time, then Ireland is something that you would want to consider, because the opportunities are just endless. And I would say that all around the first world countries, that's the developed world, the US, the UK, in Europe, in maybe, I don't know, I don't want to call Asian countries, but in these first world countries, there are lots and lots of occupations that are springing up. In fact, most of these countries are now beginning to come up with programs for people to be able to move more easily from abroad. So if you have certain skills or certain work experiences, you know, they are looking at options for you to be able to move. Germany is doing something, Norway is doing something, Netherlands is doing something. You know, they're all wanting to start processes that look similar to the Canadian Express entry so that they can actually move or bring qualified individuals from around the world. Do you get? So what does that mean? It means that there's a boom in a lot of industries in these places. And what you have to do is make yourself applicable to be able to fit those roles. So you need to look at what is booming now and what is likely to boom in the next 2 years, in the next 3 years, in the next 4 years. How do I make myself qualified to be able to apply when that time comes? You get? So Ireland is one of these countries where there's a lot of boom, most especially because it has so much perks for organizations all around the world, international organizations. So you have a lot of international organizations having their head office in Ireland, right? Because there are tax breaks, there are a lot of perks that they give them. So they will leave their home countries where they were established, say maybe the US, you know, or Canada or the like, because of all the taxes and everything, they go and set up their head office in Ireland because of the breaks that they are giving to them. And by doing this, it means that they're going to need a whole lot of employees to fit different positions. There's only so much people that you can move from your home country. You get, you know, a company like maybe Facebook now, you're going to have thousands of employees in your head office, you know. So I don't think you're going to move thousands of people all the way from the US. You need to actually also employ locally. Now, when they want to employ locally, they need people with a different, with a host of skills, different host of set of skills, and that's where you come in. Now, in Ireland, especially within IT and the medical field, there are a lot of opportunities, maybe also even business, because there are lots of specialized business skills that have lots of opportunities. So if you have specialized marketing skills, say maybe sales, technical sales, that's something very key. If you have financial skills, that's also very key. Maybe something in data science, that's also very key. So those are also courses that are more in line with business, that are also very lucrative or very advantageous for you to actually study in. Now, so those are the advantages of actually thinking of studying in Ireland beyond just not being able to go with your family. Now, what are the options? Once you're done with your school, you have 2 years postgraduate permit. Now, that postgraduate work permit, if you get a job that falls within, most jobs actually within this space will fall within that category. Before they have a category, anyways, I'm not going to mention that because it's something that you can either get from us or get from the internet. If you fall within that space and you're earning between 27,000 euro to like 30,000, depending on the country you come from, then you will be able to get a work permit. I'm sorry, to get a work visa. So you're going to be able to change it to get a work visa. And getting a work visa, if you're going to be in Ireland for up to, I think, 5 years, then you can now go on and apply for residence permit, right? Just something that's like similar to how you have it in the UK. So that's the option for Ireland. The good thing about Ireland, I would say, is that when you meet the threshold in terms of the fee, rather in terms of your salary or your income, right? Your gross income, your gross yearly income, yeah, you're able to sponsor yourself. Unlike in the UK where the company has to want to sponsor you, the company wants you to stay. In Ireland, as long as you have gotten a job that fits that particular role, you don't need the company to say I want to sponsor you. If the company does want to sponsor you, it's fine. But if you also do get a job that falls within that role, you can also sponsor yourself. So that's like the beautiful thing about it. So you have more control about, say, your future. It's not so much in the hands of someone else as it is in your own hands, right? So that's that for Ireland. Now for the US, not a lot of people are actually looking to go to the US. Why? I would say it's because the process right now is now really, really cumbersome, right? I would why I'm saying not a lot of people is because I'm comparing this to our previous track record in terms of the amount of people that come in say, oh, I want US, I want US, I want US, that has actually trickled really, 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 really down. And that's because of the tightening immigration policies, not ability not to not ability to get a date for interview, and then the interview process. You can't just gather documents like you would do for Canada or you would do for Australia or any other country. Gather documents and submit, and then they'll review your document and give you this. No, you have to come and stand. If your family is going with you, if your kids are going with you, everybody goes to the embassy. Everybody answers questions. Well, your family might not be answering so much question, maybe just one or two, just to verify that they are really your family and you're not inventing family from thin air, to follow you to the US. But you have to defend your course. You need to defend why you want to study at that university. Unlike in the UK or US where you just write an SOP, a statement of purpose, saying everything, and then you're good to go. In the US, you have to physically defend it to someone who is not smiling. So this has made a lot of people not want to consider it, but it's still a good option if you want to go. So if you're able to scale through this process, which we can actually help you with, you get to stay back for 3 years after your postgraduate degree. And then once you're done with that, within that period, you can get a job. Now, your job can now sponsor you to be on your H1 visa, right? So that visa is a work visa. Unfortunately, if you do not get someone to sponsor you within this period and your work permit visa expires, then you have to go back to your host country. But in most cases, if you are within a role that is very critical, and the beautiful thing about the US is that the US is massive. Every other country, Canada is massive as well, but in terms of population, they are really sparsely populated, about 30 something million. The US has 10 times the population of Canada. They have 300 and something million, right? And the US is big, has lots and lots of industries, has needs for days. So even if you say you want to go and study whatever course that probably might not be very beneficial in this country, if you go to the US, it will be beneficial, because if it is not relevant in this state, once you're done with your study, you can move to a state where that particular course is relevant. So there are lots of jobs, there are lots of opportunities, if only you would make yourself applicable, right? So there are opportunities on one hand, and then you being qualified for those opportunities is on the other hand. So you have to actually do the work, make yourself qualified, make yourself enticing to the employers, and they will be willing to sponsor your H1 visa, and that will enable you to stay back to work in the US. Now, if you stay back, I think for a period of 5 to 10 years, you're able to apply for your green card. And with your green card, within 5 years or after 5 years, you'll be able to apply for citizenship. So that is that for the US. Now, for Australia, almost similar as well. When you go, you study 1 to 2 years master's degree. And I'm just using master's because most of the people that come to us is for master's. I would say about 85 to 90% of people that come to us want a master's degree. That's why I'm focusing on master's program. If you are looking at options for undergraduates, and I'm not speaking about it here, please send us a DM, send us a message, and go to our link, speak to a counselor, and the counselor would be able to give you more explanation into what your options are. Now, in Australia, you also do have this option, right? The option is you can stay back for 18 months. That's a year and 6 months after your study. Now, once you have finished your study and you have this postgraduate visa, let me look at the name. So you have the temporal graduate visa, right? Which is what you're going to be able to work in. Then they also have a visa for people that have skills in critical occupations, right? So if you have skills in critical occupations, you can actually extend your stay for between 18 months to 4 years, depending on the depending on the role. Now, for every other person, you get 16 months, and within that period, if you get work experience that qualifies you, there are other options for work, and there are other options for PR as well. So Australia also has something similar to what Canada has in terms of PR, right? PR meaning permanent residency. So they have a program where you qualify using your educational qualifications, using your work experience, using your English proficiency, using your age, using maybe your family status and things like that. So I'm not going to go into all that because we don't have time for that. I think it's almost 1 o'clock already, and I've not gone into careers because we don't have time for that. But there are options for you to be able to then qualify for those roles, right? So you get 18 months, and then there are options for PR using your job or using other qualifying factors for you to be able to stay back. But what is also important to note here is that there are certain occupations that you need to be keen into if you want to easily qualify, right? So it will be easier for some people rather than other people based on their background and track record. Now, I think we'll just have another 10 minutes of discussion, and then we need to go because already 5 minutes to 1. I think I'm going to talk until it's 5 minutes past 1, and then we can go. So I'm just going to be reading through what occupations you should be looking at depending on the country. Most of them have the same, like it's the same thing that cuts across all of them, right? Maybe except maybe 1 or 2 exceptions or additions depending on the country. So I'm just going to be reading out for some countries. Now, in Canada, engineering is a big thing, right? I don't want to go into maybe politics or economics and things like that, but really the Canadian economy right now, or the Canadian government, they're really looking into becoming a very key competitor in the international space, right? Canada, yes, has been looked at as, oh, this serene, quiet place where it's easy to grow a family and all, right? But when you compare it to their role in international space, they are not as regarded as you would regard maybe Germany, for instance, or the US, for instance, or even the UK, for instance, right? Because these countries I just mentioned have more population, have more industries, have bigger roles in the international space, have military power, to be able to command certain things. Canada has not been really playing in that space because they have been more concerned with being peaceful, living well and all that. But that is changing. They want to actually become more, have a bigger player in the international space. And before you can become a bigger player, it means that you need to be able to defend it in terms of having industries, in terms of population, which is why the express entry program is even taking place, because they are trying to increase their population. There's only so much births in terms of giving birth. There's only so much birth that you can have before you can increase your population. And those have to start as babies and then grow up over time. So they are using immigration through legal means to bring in highly qualified people to get their population to be very, very enlightened workforce, skilled workforce, but much population. So they are using this so that they can actually become better players in the international space. Now, what does that do for you? That means that if you're going to Canada, there are certain industries that they're now really focusing on, and engineering is one of them. When you're talking about nuclear engineering, in the aeronautic space, in virtual reality, in tech, those things are really key because they want to become household names when you're talking about those kinds of industries. So if you're someone within this space in engineering, you are in luck because Canada is a place that is really looking for people with your skills. They also want tech people, like I mentioned. So tech in like software, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, data science, network administrator. So those, some of them are in software, some of them are technical. So hardware repair, people that repair hardware, technical things, they're also looking for people within that space. Then if you're coming to business, you're looking at human resources, people, you're looking at finance people. Those are people that have specialized skills. And you're looking at sales. Sales is also very key. whatever industry you're working in must have sales people that will be able to sell your product, service, or ideas, right? So sales is also very key, especially in specialized areas. So if you have experience in like medical sales, technical sales, that's people who sell maybe IT or things in technical sales. If you have in FMCG, that's fast moving consumer goods, FMCG. So say you have sales experience in like Cadbury, for instance, right? The way they sell their products is different from somebody that sells to consumers. I mean, somebody that sells business to business. That's also a very key aspect of sales. So there you can call them account managers, or you can call them relationship managers or key account managers. So those people are actually very sought after. Then another kind of people that are sought after are people that are in the medical space, medical and sciences. Oh my goodness, you guys are just, you are loved everywhere, right? So people are they are looking for you in the nursing space, medical lab assistants, you have hospital administrators, you have physician assistants, you have even pharmacists, you have doctors. So in that medical space, there's a lot of opportunities that are waiting for you. In fact, I was watching a documentary recently, and they were talking about the magnitude or the amount of vacancies in a lot of hospitals, right? They don't even have enough people to be able to fill up the roles that are currently vacant within these hospitals. What does that mean? It means that they need people. Obviously, they have certain criteria. When you go there, you need to meet those criteria before they can actually absorb you into the system. What I'm just saying is that these roles exist, and if you make yourself applicable, you would be able to apply and get the job. Yeah, so in tech, they also need cyber security, because cyber is now a very big deal. They need big data scientists, they need web developers, mobile application developers, right? So I'm just going to summarize all this, because these jobs I just mentioned actually apply to all the countries I just mentioned, right? It applies to the US, it applies to the UK, it applies to Australia, it also applies to Ireland. In Ireland, you need to think more about tech, and or even if you are in a role that is not really techy, you need to look at all the applications and softwares that you are going to use for that role. So for instance, if you're in HR now HR is a business aligned role, but there are lots of technical skills you can actually gain for you to be able to succeed in HR. You need to start looking at how to gain all of them, right? So that you can actually compete with your contemporaries. Likewise in sales, you can say, oh, I'm a salesperson. There are applications you need to use, do you know how to use Salesforce? Do you know how to use Access? Do you know how to use Excel really well to analyze data? Those are technical skills that for your field would actually put you in the top 10 or 20% of people who are eligible to work. So even if you're not in the core technical roles, look at all the technical skills you'll be needing for success in those particular roles. So these are just summaries. I'm not able to go into them one by one. But in conclusion of what I'm going to say is that there are lots of opportunities, especially now, especially because a lot of countries have Corona brought a lot of realization, right? That, oh, we have not been doing things the way we're supposed to be doing things. And, so a lot of countries want to have that, they want to have everything. So they're self-sufficient in a lot of ways, right? So, and now they need a lot of people. Nobody is thinking, oh, it must be my citizens. My citizens, their citizens don't have enough skills to occupy those spaces. So they're looking for you. And I would say Nigerians are one of the most sought after people, because we're very learned, we're very hardworking. I have first-hand information about some employers in the UK, in the US, who would actually look out for Nigerians to hire in certain positions because of our dedication. We like to work, compared to maybe other people who want to work and rest. Nigerians want to work and kill themselves because we need money, we need to send money home and things like that. So people actually look out for us because of our skills. So you need to take advantage. Now we're going to answer questions. Maybe another 5 minutes. I can see that there's a couple of questions here. So we're just going to answer them. If it applies to me, I will answer. If it applies to Mo will go ahead and answer. So official DYDX says, All documents must be complete to make the application process easy for them. Okay, I think he was just confirming what Mo said. Official DYX says next destination is Australia. I think that would be good for you. One thing about Australia you need to note is that Australia, I know it's a joke here, but Australia, you're living with animals more or less, because you can be in your house and a koala will come and visit you, a kangaroo will hop in, or snakes will just slither into your room. It's common occurrence, and you can't kill them. They are like protected animals. You just can't go killing animals. Just the way in Nigeria, you see a snake and you're shouting, "Ah!" You bring tippers, you bring cutlass and you want to kill. You can't do that there. So you need to be comfortable living alongside wild animals. So if that is something that is comfortable for you, of course, do it. Australia is a fantastic place. Anyways, says special greetings from Scotland. Okay. The UK is the easiest. Yes. For now, UK is the easiest in terms of you wanting to go and you want to move your family. Truly, UK is easier. But if you also qualify for the other countries, if you come to us, we'll tell you what the criteria are. If you meet the criteria, then obviously you can also think of or look at other countries. You don't have to do the UK. But if you don't qualify for all those other ones, then and you qualify for UK, then you might as well just consider going to the UK. From UK moving to Australia and Canada becomes very easy. Okay, I think official DYDX, it's like we're going to bring you on. You have a lot of information. Agatha, maybe you can send a message to this official DYDX. Probably we're going to have a conversation with you. I think you have a lot to tell us, and I'm sure our viewers would want to actually hear. So maybe we can have a live with you, and then you can tell us what life is in the UK and then how it's easy to move. And then something I didn't mention that official DYDX it just mentioned is the fact that when you have these international degrees, right, which is why you might just consider the UK, consider Ireland or anywhere, but you have them, it's easy to move. It's easier to move when you have a recognized degree, maybe 1 year work experience within that field. It's easier to move from there maybe to Ireland, from the UK, or to Germany, or to the US, or to Canada, or to Australia, because you now qualify and you now have something recognized beyond the shores of Nigeria. So that's also something that you might want to consider. Then, I think I saw another part. So this person says, can I get a master's program in Ireland? Oh, absolutely. There are master programs in Ireland, and you're in luck. Some of them are still currently open for admission for September intake. So please, I am James Tobo. I think our marketing person, I'm just going to take a screenshot so that I remember your hand. We're going to send you a DM, and then we're going to take you through the process. So, and it's absolutely free. You don't have to pay a dime. So we're going to take you through the process. If you are qualified, yes, we can apply for a master's program for you in Ireland. So I think that's all in terms of questions. Mo, do you have anything to add? I know I've been talking. Do you have any more stuff to add so that we can now call it a day?
No, I think you already did justice to everything.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get you. You said what?
Okay, I said you've done justice to much about everything, and I said Instagram will soon log us out.
I didn't get you. Instagram is what?
Instagram will soon log us out from the live.
Oh, log us out. Okay. So guys, please, before we go, I just want to let you know that we're here. We're available for you for whatever questions. There are lots of other topics that we didn't touch. These conversations that we're having, you cannot have them in an hour. You can only touch on the pain points and important things as it applies to you. If you want to get one-on-one, if you want to get something that is applicable to you and your situation, you need to contact us. You need to come to us, and then we will now give you that one-on-one evaluation, and then let you know what the best options are in terms of your qualifications, your work experience, your aspirations, as well as your financial capabilities, right? So we're going to look at everything, and then we're going to give you the best options that you can actually choose. So from us at Negxy, we're going to say bye. This is the first, I think, live session we're doing for the year. Every Wednesday, we also have this from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock every Wednesday. So please keep it a date. We always have very informative things to talk about, and very informative things to say that can benefit either you or any of your loved ones. So thank you, and from me, it's bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.